Welcome. I'm Dr. Lisa Jardine-Wright and I'm the Acting Senior Tutor at Churchill College. We're delighted to welcome you all, Master, Prayer-Lector, Fellows, families and most importantly our graduates. Thank you for joining with us today from around the world to celebrate the achievements of the Churchill College 2020 graduates. Before we begin, I'll explain how the proceedings will work in this virtual setting. So that we can all see and recognise the individuals who are speaking, we will begin with all the videos and microphones off. You'll be presented in small groups and I will read the names out of those who are to be presented. Just before I do, we will request you that you turn on your video. Please accept so that we can see you as the presentation of the degree is read. Please all remain muted throughout so that we can minimise the feedback and hear those who are speaking. This virtual celebration is a first for Churchill College and we've planned carefully, but please do bear with us if things don't go quite according to plan. We will adapt as we need to. At this point, I'll hand over to our Prayer Lector, Dr. John Fawcett, to lead us through the proceedings.
Noble Master, Domina Pro Cancelaria, and also standing in for the Vice-Chancellor. And remember everybody else, so et tota academia, all the members of the Regent House I'm also addressing. Praesento vobis, I present to all of you. And at this point there will be small variations. Hos viros, these gentlemen, has mulieres, these ladies. Hos viros et has mulieres, these men and these women, as appropriate. And now a small lie. Quo scio, whom I know. I have been fortunate, of course, to meet many of you, but not absolutely everybody, so we will gloss over that detail. Quo scio, whom I know, but then in for a penny, in for a pound. So tam moribus quam doctrina, both morally and in learning, the way I know you. At this point in the Senate House, I would address the Master by Zoom, but I will look at the webcam and imagine that I am talking to the Master and say to the Master, idque tibi, and this to you personally, fide mea praesto, I give to you my solemn pledge that what I am saying about your morals and your standard of learning being a good enough standard to collect your degree is actually true. So idque tibi, fide mea praesto. But then I remember that everybody else in the Regent House has to agree as well. So totique academia, I better give that solemn pledge to everybody else as well. And that concludes my presentation. So I doff the Master. That's thanks in advance for conveying the degrees upon everyone who is due to collect one today. At this point, I'm afraid it's over to you to actually do some acting. And in the Senate House, you would offer your hands like so. And the Master will place her hands over yours as she confers the degrees. Now, of course, in a time of social distancing and no physical contact, it'll be rather difficult to do this. But if you place your hands towards the webcam, as I'm doing now, then you'll be getting the right sort of feel. You're not bowing down, you're not in prayer at this moment, so look directly into the webcam. You've worked hard for your degree and you want to see the Master look straight into her eyes as she confers this degree upon you. So offer your hands as your name is called. Okay, I hope that is clear and I hope everybody understands what is going to happen. So now we do this for real. We begin with the name of village. So Churchill College. Mathematics.
Dominic Klerpfer, Istvan Kadar, Max Turney.
Dignissima Domina Pro Cancelaria, tota academia. Praesento vobis hos viros. Quo scio tam moribus quam doctrina esse idonius ad gradus assequendos, magistri in mathematica, of arts. Dignissimum Tonea, Trina, Idonius, ad Resplendus, Magistri in Ingeniaria, Baccalaureate in Artis.
Andrew Campbell, Arnab Rawat, Arthur Chan, Christopher Layton, Daniel Fernandez, David Schwabrick, Dylan Dano.
Maesto, Boutique Academia.
Professor Nuncio Te, Magistri in Ingegneria, Necnon Baccalaureate in Artis.
We have Master Engineering and Balance.
Ellen Fox Davis, Georgios Batsolis, Yoni Bakey, George Garcia Condado, Matt Quasigrok, Matthew Harris.
Host etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis prae.
Te etiam adeunt.
And we have a third batch. So continuing Master of Engineering and Bachelor of Arts.
Nathan Chung, Oliver Allen, Pablo Pascual Cobo, Tejo Kim, Vasim Bashir, William Sutcliffe.
Hos atque has etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio adeundum gradum.
And now we move to Master of Arts.
Chris Bell, Colin Mao, Emma Lyons, Manus Coley, Olivia Hugh, Russell Main, Simon Lichtinger.
Dignissima Domina, et hoc Academia, praesento vobis hosmolis, io tamoris ad gradus magistri scientiis ateros non baccalaureae Academia.
Autoritate commissa note ad gradus magistri in naturalis academicis.
Aletta Sappo, Amy Walpole, Anna Wright, Antonis Forfaro, Benedict Kovac, Brian Fong, Chessie Broadhurst, Demetrius Marangos, and Emily Booth.
Dignissima Domina, Domina pro cancella, et tota Academia, praesento vobis hos viros et has mulieres, quoscio tamoribus quam doctrina esse idonius ad gradum assequendum, baccalaureae in artimus. Idque tibi, fide mea praesto, totique Academia.
Autoritate mihi commissa nuncio te ad gradum baccalaureae in artibus.
Emma Jing, Emma Wilmont, Faisal Awad, George Solomu, Harry Clinch, Izzy Snape, Jenny Tang, Jenny Yang, Jiaqing Lo.
Hos atque has etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio adeundum gradum.
Jimmy Shijin Yu, Julia Vina, Katie Hayward, Kevin Fletcher, Kirsty Hunter, Chris Boba, Lauren Howells, Mansi Narayan, Marcus Macabre.
Hos atque has etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio adeundum gradum.
Matthew Beasley, Max Brennan, Max Campman, Max Lay, Max Warner, Megan Harding, Michael Carr, Nikki Eames, Rachel Kelsall.
Hos atque has etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio adeundum gradum.
Rebecca Doherty, Ryan Fox, Sam Johnson, Shirali Patel, Sarah Kyle, Seren Jones Reddy, Shruti Das, Sue Yong Han, and Stephen Hughes.
Hos atque has etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio adeundum gradum.
Tabitha Reed, Will Barnes, Yambo Jin, and Zachariah Auchakuk.
Hos etiam praesento, et dehis idem vobis praesto.
Te etiam nuncio ad eundum gradum.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the ceremonial part of today. So I hand back to the Master to continue today's proceedings.
Thank you very much. I hope you will all forgive me if I take my bonnet off at this point. It is decidedly hot. So I'd like to offer you all my congratulations. This isn't the way I'd want it to be congratulating you and celebrating with you, but please think of it as an interim measure till we can all get together again in college to do this properly. And I hope that will be a ceremony as well in the Senate House next summer. We hope that will be the case. So congratulations are definitely in order. The results show you've been a fantastic cohort. Despite everything, you've been able to cope and deliver. The ability to cope with adversity is a skill that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. We, as a college and a university, didn't expect to be training you in that particularly, although resilience and flexibility is always something we've valued. These skills are clearly ones you've all managed to acquire in these extraordinary weeks since the end of Lent term. Everyone, everywhere, has been working incredibly hard to make the best of a very bad situation. Some of you, I know, have needed to work under difficult conditions or with the additional worry of health issues, your own, your family, and your friends, to absorb your time and energy. In college too, we've all been working flat out, even if perhaps it should be metaphorically in college, because although I am still in the Master's Lodge, senior tutor, the Pri-Lecturer, and everyone else have been back in their homes. The supervisors, as you'll have realised, have had to devise completely new formats for your supervisions, and the lecturers rapidly needed to devise ways of delivering lectures online. The whole tutorial team have been on virtual hand to provide advice under the incredibly challenging conditions of remote working, with you all spread far and wide around the world. I'm sure all these teams, teachers, both the lecturers and supervisors and tutors, have made a big difference to you. During this spectacularly unusual term, we've all benefited from the unflappable calm and shrewdness of Lisa Jardine-Wright as acting senior tutor, just when I thought that our usual senior tutor, Richard Partington, would be impossible to live up to. Normally, at this point, if I were giving this speech over the dinner, I would call upon you to give all these invaluable people a big vote of thanks at this point. I'm not sure how well this works over Zoom, but let's give it a go by applause or one of the emoticons or other reactions. Thank you to everyone. We shouldn't forget all the college staff who've smoothed your way. You won't have seen them recently, and many of them are on furlough currently. But I'm sure throughout the time that you were physically here, you'll have appreciated all they did for you, and we shouldn't forget their hard work. I personally would like to thank the 3 JCR presidents I've worked with this year, Kieran, Abel, and Hannah, and the whole committee for their hard work and input into college thinking when the going has been particularly tough. This college is an amazing community where we succeed across the board, from exam results, as for all of you, to, for the 3rd year running, a Platinum Award in the Green Impact Awards. Last but not least, there are your family and friends whose support will have been invaluable to you as you mastered the challenges Cambridge threw at you, and who most probably have had to support you in different ways over the past strange months. I hope a lot of them are watching this too over the YouTube channel, and they deserve a round of applause too. Since I joined this college in 2014, there seem to have been few graduations when life felt what one might call normal. In 2016, the graduation dinner was on the evening after the result of the Brexit referendum, when we were all somewhat in shock. Last year, we seem to be heading for the cliff edge of a no-deal Brexit in a few months, something that's still the case, albeit the crisis of the pandemic is occupying all our minds rather more. You are a generation that has seen more turbulence and uncertainty than any, certainly since the financial crash of 2008. But in all honesty, given there have been such a series of significant events, probably more than for many years past. I hope you feel that your time at Churchill has given you the strength, the resilience, and the values you need, as well as the disciplinary knowledge to set you up well for the years ahead. Universities seem to be under attack from the government currently, but you will know exactly what you've gained from your time here, and I hope it's not a few library books, as John has already mentioned. Indeed, in years to come, you may appreciate some of the diverse range of things you've learned here even more. I'm always struck by the alumni who tell me years after they've left just how much difference their time in Churchill made to them. Cambridge students and graduates are not the bunch of wealthy toffs who the media sometimes love to hate, or conversely, a bunch of snowflakes who cope with those with views they don't agree with by no platforming. I know, and you know, that this is a hopeless caricature that bears little resemblance to you or your peers. This college has always prided itself on being an inclusive and welcoming college. Many of you have told me how you felt welcomed and at home here, and I mean here because I'm still in the college, as soon as you walked into the college past the Porter's Lodge. I hope you, wherever you go, you will take with you that warm feeling about the college, but also that you'll take the values of inclusion with you. The George Floyd murder has highlighted how much racism is endemic, and events in this country since then show the UK is not immune to the same problem. Our college must do more to ensure we're not only positively welcoming, but also actively aware of where racism may lurk within our own organisation. We know that Brexit and the actions of the Home Office have done nothing to make this country overall feel like a place for all. But we do have the responsibility to make this college vigorously tackle our own thought processes and actions where they may, perhaps lazily, fall short. Now, you, our alumni, you will be receiving all our newsletters, and I hope, wherever you are in the world, you will continue to feel engaged with us. In the future, you'll hear more about the work we're doing, both in tackling implicit and explicit racism within our community and via academic analyses and talks, including using our wonderful archives, to confront the notions of empire and colonialism. This will not be the work of a moment. The other major new project that the college is embarking on relates to the sustainability agenda. The student body has been fantastic in the work it's done for the Green Impact Awards year on year. And this year, not only did we receive a Platinum Award, the highest level, but also an Excellence Award for the project on single-use plastics. But there's far more to be done using our whole estate. With the new estates manager, Tom Bowden, we're looking at how we can move towards science-based targets, something the university is working to, for decarbonising our operations. Maybe next time you visit the college, there'll be solar panels on the roofs. Our estate lends itself to this more easily than many of the traditional colleges, given all the flat roofs that we have. We intend to plant many more trees. This has already started, and areas are intended to be remeadowed. Again, that is underway. There are lots of parts of the estate where we can do more, and our aspiration is to use the college, with its diverse talent base within the student body, to work with others on experimental projects to see what works best in terms of novel energy producing and storage facilities and how we could drive a reduction in our carbon footprint. We want to embed these ideas around sustainability in the wider education agenda across the college. So watch this space as our ideas develop. And as I say, do read the alumni e-newsletters that you will all be receiving. Finally, to bring me back to where I began with regard to the pandemic, your future, as for all of us, may look uncertain under these conditions. But think about your core strengths and all you've learnt here. The economy will pick up in due course. There will be new jobs, including new ways of working. And the opportunities for the agile, critically thinking graduate will be there at least as much as ever. Perhaps it's a moment in time to reflect on what we want of the post-pandemic world in terms of sustainability, ways of working, and ways of being together. It is for this reason I set the Essay Prize to encourage you all to reflect on what we've learned during this pandemic and how society needs to change. Whether or not you've decided to write about this topic, I'm sure you'll all be reflecting on our changed world and your place in it. And as a graduate, armed with all you've learnt here, both specifically within your own subject and from all the broader experiences you've gained during your time in Cambridge, I hope you'll think about what you can offer this new changed world. I look forward to being able to welcome you back here as soon as possible for an in-person celebration. Meanwhile, keep safe. Thank you.
At this point, we're going to hear from some of the students, and I would like to invite Tabby Reid to read her contribution to the graduation yearbook.
Hi, can you hear me? Can someone, okay. So this is what I wrote for the yearbook. When I arrived at Cambridge 2 weeks early for pre-season netball, my only friends were John the Porter and the Hepworth. While these Churchill legends are still near and dear to my heart, the arrival of the rest of my year group is when the university experience properly started, and the brutalist buildings began to feel like home. It didn't even matter that our Freshers' Week lasted only 4 days. In a sea of hideous orange t-shirts, we marched proudly from 2J to Danger Spoons, where Steve-O's high kick made its first appearance of too many. First year went by in a blur of surviving Wednesday nights without a Cindy's rep, formals full of laughter and outrageously loud renditions of Sweet Caroline, and essay all-nighters fueled solely by buttery smoothies. Aside from the divisive pandemonium of Meat-Free Monday, and the time Mancy got kicked out of formal for pennying, Churchill lived up to its reputation for being the chill college. Being interrogated or turned away by strict Central College porters emphasised Churchill's laid-back, open atmosphere. You can't get more welcoming than the college without a door. By second year, we'd properly settled in and felt ready to make our mark. We took over the JCR, Spring Ball Committee and created our own club nights and comedy shows. Most importantly, Churchill Netball demolished Johns and Cuppers. It's incredible how much you can fit into one 8-week term. Somewhere, sometime, among all of this, we actually did our degrees. Churchill somehow becomes better in summer, and not just because of all the festivities of Easter term, like Sea Sunday and May Week. As well as walking on the grass, we played rounders, we sunbathed, we ate together outside. There's no better to procrastinate revising than going up the Muller Centre to watch the sunset. Then, all of a sudden, and against our will, we became finalists. After years of being shushed in the Bevan, we finally became the dreaded shushers. By then, we knew Churchill like the back of our hand. We could cycle one-handed, we welcomed college grandchildren, and we knew Richie P's most iconic email quotes from memory. The feeling that the end has come too quick is a recurring one for graduates every year, and I would have never felt fully ready to leave Cambridge. However, when our final term was taken from us so unexpectedly, abruptly, and undeniably, it was devastating. I've been picturing May Week all year, a circle of us on the dance floor, in the early hours of the morning, screaming the wrong words to an ABBA tribute band, and drunkenly blubbering about how much we love each other and how we'll all definitely stay in touch. But although we didn't get the sunrise send-off of my daydreams, we have stayed in touch. Every week there have been student takeovers on the JCR Instagram, Zoom quizzes and Netflix parties, while the Minecraft version of Churchill doesn't have fluffy blankets in the library or serve roast dinners on Wednesdays and Sundays. Virtual Churchill still comprises all the people that made the college feel like home to begin with. Although we won't have another day of watching the ducklings on their ramp or wondering whether David will wear a suit, we'll have all the amazing friends and memories we've made during the past 3 years at Churchill, and that's all we'd have been left with anyway. Thank you.
Thanks, Tabby. And now I'm going to hand over to Stephen Hughes, who's going to share with us his reflections on his time and the year at Churchill.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, I must say it's a privilege to address you from the centre of the universe that is South West Wales this afternoon, just as it has been a privilege to have been a part of the Churchill community for the past 3 years. Even in the coldest depths of brutalist architecture, I've always felt that this is the community with the most warmth in Cambridge. These are not the circumstances any of us expected to be graduating in, and I know even after today, many of us will still not feel that sense of closure that we longed for in Easter term. I'll happily admit that I cried when I locked the door of 2J for the final time, even though the handle still falls off every time I lock the door. But in many ways, our delayed ceremony at the Senate House has actually got me rather excited, because in any good film based on a true story, the final credits always pan to the final characters and show what they did after the film. I was always laughed at the college's expense when people asked me who are our most famous alumni, to which very few would know any off the top of their head. And that's not something that's likely to change this year either. I of course joke, everyone knows Lauren will win Love Island. But I do hold out that when we do meet again, hopefully next year, many of us will have gone on to do some fantastic things. Ross, for example, will be running Microsoft. Nikki will be the senior tutor at Queen's. Aria will headline Glastonbury. Myself and Max will bet 2JNs on the FTSE 100. And Shruti could well be responsible for your health. I have full confidence today that I address a group of fully grown adults, with the exception of Joe Fresh, who remains the baby of the college. But as we venture on to this strange new normal, one far more alien than the one that we expected at the start of this year, I hope we all take the following things from our time here, if I may. Number one, a sense of the possible. Because if Yambo could go from being the quiet and shy person he was in Freshers Week to the person he is now, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. Number two, an appreciation of the exquisite. Because we have indeed been very privileged to have had formal hall at Churchill College. I, for one, will thoroughly miss the salmon starters and chicken mains that made Churchill Formal Hall such a delight. And that's before I even touch on Meat Free Monday. Third and finally, I hope we round off our time here with a sense of solidarity. As I said earlier, Churchillians take quite some flack from those living in the central colleges. But flack aside, and as I've said already, I've always thought Churchill was the warmest community in Cambridge. I don't want to get into the friends for life cliche, but I do hope in our future endeavours and in the many reunion dinners we have to come, we can look back with pride on the experiences we shared here. So I want to end where I started by saying that it has been the greatest privilege to have gone through this experience with you all. It's been great to see everyone, and I know we'll always be in touch, even if touch means more than 2 meters away. And I wish everyone, friend or foe, well, and that is it. The end.
I'm now going to share my screen with you so that you can see a video that Jimmy Yu prepared from last year's 2019 May Week. When I knew I was going to be senior tutor for the Easter and summer term this year, well before the coronavirus was even heard of, one of the things that I was most excited about and looking forward to was meeting all of you on the Senate House steps after you'd just all received your degree. Next year we plan to welcome you back so that you can walk down those same steps. But I'm honoured to have been able to be part of this virtual recognition of all of your successes. It may sound cliched, but graduation is just the beginning, but you will always be part of Churchill College. You've all proved yourselves to be exceptional. You've adapted, you're resilient, and you've excelled academically. Go out into the world, make it better, and don't forget us. We want you to keep in touch. Tell us about your future, and come back and see us as often as you wish. Your tutors, your directors of studies will be delighted to know if you're back in Cambridge. Don't forget to get in touch. I'm now going to ask the tutors and directors of studies to turn on their videos if they can as we raise our glasses for a toast. I'm going to pause for a few seconds as people do that so that we can allow a little bit of time for everybody to turn their video camera on. So if you can all please, with me, raise your glasses to congratulate Churchill College's graduates of 2020. Thank you all for joining us today. Goodbye and good luck.